Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. And if you're new here,
I'm Lee.
and I'm GC.
And this is Lee and GC Face the Movies.
Yeah.
Welcome back, and we're here tonight to talk about a classic, a zombie classic movie, George A. Romero's Dawn of the Dead from 1978.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be a fun one. We're actually, well, no, I'll let you take this one, man.
Well, yeah, I mean, I wanted to, well, like we did before, like we like to do. I like to see like what's your history with the movie first, and then we'll get into the synopsis.
Actually, in my history with this film, it's just like The Burning. Lee recommended this one to me. He had it. He has it, which is right here.
Unfortunately, it's the theatrical cut. I wasn't able to get the director's cut yet, but in the future, we'll be able to get it.
Yeah, I didn't even know there was a director's cut until you told me that earlier today, man. For some reason I thought it was just this one, but
yeah,
it was. Yeah, it was like, I'm glad he told me about it. Like I knew it existed, but I've never seen it, man. I mean, I saw the remake, loved the remake, and
that's a good remake. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean.
Yeah, no, because I was gonna say that this movie, not only because if you buy a big box set they have now, the movie has like 4 different cuts. There's like an international cut, a director's cut, the theatrical, and then some other one that I think that like I forgot who has like their hand in it, but yeah, there's a lot of cuts. I've seen, like, my history with the movie is when I was like in middle school, I hadn't even heard of this movie either, and a friend of mine, I went over to like a sleepover, and he had like this double VHS tape with the director's cut, and he's like, "Have you seen this movie?" I was like, "I don't even know what it is." Like, "Oh, it's a zombie movie." So he put it on, and I was like, "Man, this movie's really fun." Like, I really liked it a lot, and that's the first time I saw it. So I think I was like 14. It was probably like late 90s or something like that.
My first time was 37. I can't believe I went this long, man, because I love zombie movies. I love the zombie genre in general. I'm a huge fan of George A. Romero. So the fact that I did not see this one, I just honestly thought, I know it was like what was it, the Living Dead, the
Night of the Living Dead, the original,
and then the original, the sequel, and then I thought it was like the Dawn of the Dead, like the new remake, and then you have the Day of the Dead, and then you have what was the
Land of the Dead.
Land of the Dead. That's the one with, what's his name from The Pest?
John Leguizamo.
Yeah. So yeah, especially now. Recently, I also saw the Day of the Dead, but that'll be another video. That'll be something else. But recently saw that one too about like a week and a half ago. And another one that Lee had, he recommended. I feel like it's like, dude, every time I come over, it's like your own blockbuster, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, now you've seen like the trilogy of George A. Romero, because I mean, he did do Land of the Dead after that, and it kind of continues on these stories. But it's Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, and then Day of the Dead. And it always took a while for him to make the sequels. Like, I think this one was like 11 years after Night of the Living Dead.
Wow.
And then there was the resurgence with all those. I think 28 Days Later really brought the zombie genre back, like in like 2002. And then you had the remake of this, and I think the remake of this is what got George A. Romero to be able to make Land of the Dead, which was like a studio movie for him, because he always worked like low budget with like independent studios and stuff. So I'm glad that you finally saw it. It's a classic. So
and it's interesting because, like, with the low budget movies, man, sometimes I noticed that a lot with a lot of these low budget movies. Like, the effects are not like the best or whatever, but the story is there. Yeah. And it's with this movie in particular, like, it's like you see some of the, I mean, obviously back then too was different. So some of the stuff's a little cheesy, but it's good cheesy. It's like, oh man, this is awesome.
There's some moments, we'll talk about it when we get there, but it's like, oh, okay, they went with that. But and then the effects, we'll talk about that too.
Yeah.
Tom Savini worked on this one also, which we talked about, The Burning, and he worked on that too. So he's like one of the biggest guys working in that genre.
Working on the Burning video, the last one. If you guys missed it, go back in our channel and watch The Burning. We're kind of talking a little bit about it between that and comparing it to kind of the Friday the 13th, the franchise that came out around the same time. But Tom Savini, when I looked up his picture, I was like, wait a minute, this is the guy from Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah.
And then I started
Sex Machine.
Yeah, Sex Machine. And then I started thinking, like, man, like, I've seen him in a lot of stuff, and I had no idea that he did makeup, like the makeup artist behind all this, or I guess the prosthetics and stuff. And that's
he's in this one too. He's in the movie.
That's right, he was. Okay, I remember now, dude. Yeah.
I wonder if they got the Sex Machine thing from this one, not because he has like a similar outfit, like he's the leather jacket and all that stuff in this one. So I don't remember if seeing the behind the scenes of From Dusk
Yeah.
Till Dawn has that, but I know for sure one day we'll do From Dusk Till Dawn because
Absolutely.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
And we'll get into the behind the scenes of that because that has a lot of cool stuff too.
Because this one, it's funny now. Like, it's starting to come back a little bit. I haven't seen this movie for a few weeks now. It's been, well, maybe like a month since I saw it last,
Yeah.
and I've seen a lot of stuff in between. So it's kind of, as Lee talks more about it, it's going to start coming back to me. But
Yeah.
dude, let's hit him with the synopsis. You want?
Yeah, so it's basically during the zombie pandemic. It's basically about this two SWAT team guys, a reporter and, well, he's a traffic reporter and an executive. They all seek refuge in a abandoned mall.
Yeah.
Basically, that's like the short of it. It's
Yeah.
really what it's about. So yeah, I mean, this movie, like, it starts, like, I loved, like, the thing I even remember as a kid when I saw it. It starts with that opening shot of her, like, kind of sleeping, and you see like this red carpet behind her.
Yeah.
And I always thought that she was on the floor, and then when they zoom back, she's like actually on the wall laying like this, because it's the 70s and they had like carpet on the walls and everything.
The fluffy freaking walls. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a really cool opening shot, and it kind of like just sees the chaos of what's going on. So we already know that the zombie apocalypse is happening because it's kind of a continuation of what happened in Night of the Living Dead. Like it's spreading, and we see like this TV reporters, they're all like going crazy and they're arguing about stuff, and that's basically like how it opens.
Nice. And it starts so chaotic too. Like, besides like her just kind of laying there, like, or leaning against the wall, like out of nowhere, it's just people running around, and I love the start, man. Like, I loved how, I'm comparing it to the new one real quick. It just takes off. Like, it just takes off.
I mean, that's what I liked about the remake, that other than taking the concept of the mall, it's very different. They're very different movies. I mean, this one you have slow zombies, which is what Georgearomero loves. He doesn't like the fast zombies. And then with 28 Days Later bringing the fast zombies into it, they went with it in the remake in Dawn of the Dead. And that opening of the remake is excellent also. I mean, we're not going to get too much into the remake because we're here to talk about this one, but that one also has a really crazy opening. So yeah, I mean, basically we're introduced to the characters. We're introduced to Fran. She's the main character, the female lead. And I believe after that, then it cuts to us seeing these two SWAT guys, which is Peter and Roger. And they're like in a building where there's like these Puerto Ricans are like, there's like a hostage situation going
there was
on.
like I think it was like some type of gang thing going on, because I remember they were like, the building itself, wasn't it kind of like a projects type situation?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. And I thought it was funny. I don't know if you noticed this, but and this is, I don't care about this. We're Hispanic anyways. Yeah. But there's like the Puerto Rican guy that comes out. He's wearing brown face because like they didn't hire a Puerto Rican guy, so they're like they just got some random dude who just put brown face on him. He's wearing like a red bandana. He's like,
that's hilarious, man. I damn it.
You didn't notice that?
No.
Oh man, because I just saw it.
We don't have any Puerto Rican dudes around, so it's
like let's just pay this guy to just. But yeah, I saw it yesterday, so it's fresher in my mind than him.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I did, because even though I've seen this movie like 10 times, I hadn't seen it like in like a good 6 years or so. So
damn, dude.
So it was pretty cool reliving it. So yeah, you kind of get introduced to these characters. They're like shooting up this building. And you get to see their personalities between Peter and Roger, and how they're like they run into a room where, I don't know if you remember, there's like a bunch of zombies that they're just keeping there, and then they just start shooting them, like killing them, like mercy killing them and stuff. And then this is where basically he tells them, "Oh, I have a helicopter that I'm going. We're gonna leave," and he kind of invites them, and they basically, that happens. And they go to the news station to meet up with the other two.
And it was interesting how they met, because if you remember, that one SWAT team or whatever, like special response guy, I think it was like that racist dude.
Yeah, he goes crazy.
He goes. There's this guy, and he just goes in there just shooting everybody, people that are zombies, not zombies, and he's just screaming, he was like a freaking cowboy in there. And then that's when
it's a really cool shot in the apartments. Yeah. The shot's cool. The guy's going crazy. He's just like killing everybody. And they open, and there's this big dude, and he just shoots his whole head off. And they show it. So they're already showing you like this really cool practical effects at the beginning of the movie.
And that's how it was. It was that's how Peter and Roger, like, they kind of, he was like, oh shit, like they kind of clicked there for a second. They kind of looked at each other with respect, and then that's when they end up going to that basement, and he's like telling me, he's like, yeah, we're gonna get. I got the helicopter. You should come with, and type of situation. It's cool, and with everything going on, how they kind of just. And they're like, all right, cool. Like they just clicked. They're like, all right, cool.
Yeah, they're like friends, and they basically go and meet up with Steven, which he's like, because you have these 4 main characters throughout the whole movie. Really, I forgot how much the movie is just them 4 for like, and I kind of just checked the time. It's like an hour and like 30 minutes or more of just them 4. And so Steven, he flies the helicopter, and they call him Flyboy, because he flies the helicopter, and. So they, all 4 of them, go on a helicopter, and they leave, and they're looking for refuge. They're trying to find a place to go, and they do you remember what happens after, or do you want me to?
That's dude, I'm trying to like they don't get to the mall right away, right? They stop to refuel.
They stop to refuel.
That's right. Yeah. They stop to refuel, and they're kind of looking around and stuff. And I remember, what was it like? Roger was the one that saves, or was it Flyboy?
Well, Flyboy, he doesn't know how to shoot or anything. He's not very good with guns.
He's terrible. Yeah.
So they're there, and they're like, all right, one of them stays to put gas on the chopper, and then they just start going around to look at this place, and then. I just forget which one's Roger and which one's Peter, but I believe.
You know what? We're gonna do it right now, guys.
Yeah, no, I believe Peter is he's the bigger guy. Right?
Peter, yep,
Peter.
That's him. That's him.
Peter, he's a big dude, Peter goes to look for stuff, and there's these 2 little zombie kids that attack him. And as he's doing it, he's kind of like pushing them off and stuff.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
And all the zombie comes at him, and he's kind of fighting him. And then we see Steven Flyboy try to shoot, and he almost hits him. And then Roger comes and takes his gun off and shoots the guy.
Roger's hilarious, man. Like I love Roger. He's just that dude's just having a blast the whole time. Literally a freaking like pun intended.
That seems funny because every time that Steven tries to shoot, he with his gun he gets his gun out of the way. He's like, watch this, and he's doing all these great shots because he's a
just
SWAT
showing
guy.
off. And it's like how with Steven Flyboy, he's just with that encounter with Peter. Like afterwards, Peter's like, "Hey man, don't you ever point a freaking gun at me again," type situation.
Yeah,
because it's every time freaking Steven Flyboy pulls out a gun, it's like, dude, you just no, like you give him a knife or something, because this guy freaking sucks. He's gonna get everybody killed.
Yeah. He doesn't. Because he doesn't. He's a helicopter pilot. He's not. Yeah. He's not much of a. The other 2 guys are SWAT. After that, that's when they get back on and they fly over this mall. And they see that it's kind of like there's a bunch of zombies walking around outside, but it looks secluded. So they make the suggestion, let's stop here. And they're like, well, let's check it out. And that's when they land the helicopter on the roof. And they basically break in and they start looking around. And Fran stays while the other guys kind of look around and kind of make it safe to see what's like blocked off or not.
That was a brilliant idea, man, to go to a mall. I mean, when you think about it, you have, besides a Walmart or something like that, like you have everything you need, man. And I mean, malls are pretty locked down. I mean, especially with like the roll down like gates and all that stuff. I mean, you never run out of an outfit, or like you have the food court, like the amount of frozen stuff you have there.
That's what I think makes this movie like so loved by everybody, because I think they have that fantasy of, if this was a zombie apocalypse, I would love to have a mall to myself with, and then like you said, you have all these things. They have like a gun shop there. Like,
they did.
They have the food court. They got food. They got all types of wine and liquor, and they have everything that you could want. So they love it. But I did want to mention that as they're leaving with the helicopter after they gas up, they do fly by like a bunch of people, and you see like an army and a bunch of like rednecks, and they're basically like just shooting zombies, hunting them, and just having fun, drinking. They're like, it's a party for them.
They were. Yeah, it was funny. They were like, it looked like a freaking barbecue. Like they're all just having a good time and like drinking and smoking and just freaking, they're laughing. They're like shooting zombies, and like you see freaking like they blew up a car. Yeah, I think so, like in the middle of a field or something. And I was like, what the hell? These guys are just out here freaking. And I love the scene too, where it's like the camera comes in. And it's like kind of like a sideways shot, like in the beginning. It's like it's almost like a POV where you're walking past the soldiers, but kind of like a hip view, and it starts opening up, and it kind of introduces you quickly to everybody, but without like the character names or nothing, but you just kind of see all these different types of personalities. We have like the serious soldiers, you have the ones that don't give a shit, the ones that are scared, and then you have like the redneck type people where they're just kind of out there freaking like wrangling
just
freaking
having
zombies.
fun, going crazy.
You know, and I wanted to ask you, man, before we go forward, like speaking of the mall, like if there was a zombie apocalypse, like is that something that would come to head where you like to your head where you would go to a mall or?
Yeah, I think it was also a little bit. I would, but I think it was a product of the times of late '70s and then the '80s where the malls just blew up. Everybody was like, that's where all the kids went to the mall every weekend. So they really captured that very well. Because they even say like, why are all these zombies here? Like, why do they keep coming? It's like it's what they know. It's like it's so they love coming
shopping
to the mall, right? So they're just drawn to it. So yeah, I think the mall's a good idea. I mean, unless it's like a big Costco or something where you're gonna have a ton of supplies.
But they don't sell guns at Costco anymore, do they?
I don't know. I don't think so, but I guess
Walmart because Walmart doesn't either anymore. Like they used to. I don't even. I think they barely sell ammunition now because they were trying to like eliminate it, which is there goes like two different places. Like the mall back then. I mean, when you're watching this movie, if you haven't, which we probably should have said this in the beginning, guys. Sorry, but spoiler alert. Obviously, we're giving away the movie.
Oh yeah. It's a deep dive, so we're gonna talk about everything from beginning to end for the most part. I mean, we're gonna miss stuff, but it definitely spoiler heavy. We should have mentioned it, but I'm sure you'll put something else.
Oh yeah, I'll try to put something in the beginning. But yeah, so it's back then. You're watching this movie. If you grew up in that time, I mean, the mall had everything. You had a theater, you had food, you had ammunition, you had shopping. I mean, and you could survive there. Now, unfortunately, you have a lot of like yoga pants stores and Hot Topics, and you don't really have the supplies necessarily, at least like ammunition wise, to kind of survive.
Yeah, they do go to like the JCPenney part of it.
Dude, yeah, they had everything in that damn JCPenney.
Yeah, it's true. You're right. Like the malls back in the day had a lot more things. Like you're not gonna get like food supplies and stuff.
No, you're gonna get freaking corn dogs and like Philly cheesesteaks.
Right. Yeah, there's food courts that maybe you can like check the back and see if there's like food they have there left over. But this place like has wine and cheeses and
liquor,
and like great meats and the caviar. I think at one point they're eating. It's like
they had the butcher shop.
Exactly.
We do not have that anymore, man. No. Like it's what an unfortunate thing, man. But
so yeah, I think after that, once they break in and they have like that one night where they stay in this one little secluded spot that has these boxes and it just has like spam.
Yeah.
And then I believe it's Roger. Yeah, Roger's like eating it, and Fran's like, I don't want that stuff.
Yeah, what did he say? It was like it looked like dog food or cat food or something.
Yeah.
Because it was wasn't it FEMA, like their supply? Like it was like an emergency.
Yeah, it was an emergency supply there. Yeah, that they had stored up there. And so in the next day is when Fran stays back, and then the guys go to the mall and start to like that's when they start picking some stuff up. But there's a lot of stuff that you see they'll do stuff like they'll open a door, but there's a bunch of zombies coming, so then they make noise for them to come, and then they'll go to the other door to walk out to get the stuff, and they have to the movie. It's not a slow burn per se, but it does show a lot of that stuff that nowadays I think they wouldn't, because even if going back to the remake, there's some of that stuff, but the remake definitely goes the route of having like a group of people like living in the mall together and trying to get along. And in this one, it's just them four. So there's a lot of shots that I guess nowadays would bore the younger generation audience, some of them, because they might be like, oh, it's just these four hanging out, because there's a lot of that.
Yeah, because I remember too, it was with the remake, it was very diverse. Like it was different walks of life. You have an older person, you have a guy and his daughter, you have the interracial couple with the baby, and then and then with this one, it's just three guys and a girl. They all come from different. I mean, they all come from different walks of life as well. But I love that. I mean, obviously we come from a different generation than the younger one now, but I love the fact that they focused on like the realism, because it's like it's cool sometimes to go all Michael Bay and like you just stuff starts blowing up, but the fact that they start walking through the mall and it actually shows you kind of how the sausage is made and how they're surviving and what to do. It was almost like
it's realistic.
Yeah, because if we had a zombie apocalypse right now, this movie Dawn of the Dead, that's a little bit of a blueprint of what to kind of do, because they're breaking it down. They're like, when you go to a mall, what do you look for? What do you need? What you don't need? how to lock things, because it showed you every detail, how to lock the doors, like.
Yeah, it shows a lot of everyday life of how they're getting used to living inside the mall. You definitely see them do like this regular mundane thing. Sometimes they're bored.
The psychological aspect of it, dude.
Yeah, how it could just mess with you. Like at first they're super excited about it, but after a while they're kind of like you're stuck in the same place. Like you see at one point, I think you see Peter like working out a little bit, playing like little tennis thing, and like them cooking and stuff. But I do want to mention that Fran and Steven Flyboy they're a couple. They're together.
Yeah, they're a couple. They didn't want. I think they didn't want to mention it too much at first, because from what I remember, it was kind of like you could tell they're together, but they're also not really talking about it.
Yeah, later on they get more into it, but I do think because they are friends with Roger.
Yeah,
they're friends with Roger, so Roger knows they're together. It's basically Peter that's new to the group.
Yeah,
so he might not know like every little detail, but yeah, of course they all grow a friendship together because they spend so much time together.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I remember basically after they go get all the supplies, then they decide to build a wall, and they get a bigger section of the mall to themselves, so they can have more things to do and more things to get. And there's a crucial scene that happens a few days later where they go on a mission to get trucks to block the entrances.
Yeah. That was very smart, man. And I mean, it's obviously, and then you have Roger kind of like taking it as like he's like in an amusement park, this guy.
Yeah, he's so they're both like, Roger's the guy that hot wires the cars.
Yeah.
So Peter and him are like on this mission, and they Steven is following them with the helicopter, so he can have like a high view of what's going on. And they're basically getting all these trucks. At first I was like, what are they doing with these trucks? But yeah, they're putting them in the entrances to block the entrances from the zombies coming in. And you never know if other people coming in. And so they're as they're doing this, it's dangerous because there's a bunch of zombies out there.
Yeah.
So we do see Roger go a little crazy because he almost gets killed at one point, and he's like shooting people, and Peter's like, yo, calm down, man, you're going.
Yeah, Peter's kind of, it's funny, the dynamic duo with these guys is one of them's like the clear-headed, like, hey, let's not take too many risks, and the other guy's let's get crazy, having fun, and just like he kind of, they are like yin and yang in a way, but it's awesome because their friendship, like as you see through the movie, man, like it really blossoms, and they balance each other, they keep each other in check, which is awesome. Like, I mean, like it's because it's true. It's like this dude's just running around, literally, like he's like a big, like he's a kid and like a teenager and in a man's body, and obviously you see him like the way he's like jumping around and stuff. It's like, how do you not get tired, dude? Like this guy's very athletic, man, for like a little guy. Like this guy's like
because I think like Peter is the more level-headed out of the two. Out of everybody there, I mean, as far as Fran, because Fran, she's very mature. What I like about Fran too is that she's and this is actually something I looked up that I was reading, that she had told Georgearomero that she didn't want her character to ever scream in the movie. And if you notice, and I had to read that, I was like, oh, that's true. Like never is she like scared to the point where she's like screaming, like Scream Queen or anything. She didn't want to do it. She wanted to be like,
she wants to be an equal.
Yeah, and she is, because there's a point in the movie where before the guys go out to do the truck thing, where she's like, I'm not gonna play den mother to you guys. You know? Like I'm like I'm gonna be here. If she could, she would. There's a part where she says, oh, if I had my pots and pans, I would have made you guys breakfast or whatever. But she also says, like, I'm not here to be your den mother.
Yeah.
You guys, you got to do your own thing. I'm not gonna just be sitting around. And she also mentions that she's like, I don't know about you guys, but I want Steven to teach me how to fly, because what if something happens to you and you die? Then I want to be able to fly the helicopter.
Yeah.
And then the guys agree with her. They're like, yeah, that's a good idea.
Dude, I mean, it's brilliant, because I mean, it's true, man. It's realistically, if something happens to them, then they're stuck.
Yeah.
So I mean, it wasn't even so much of her like just be like, I want to be part of the crew, like treat me equal, but it's also, hey, contingency plan, guys, and that gets everybody else thinking. They're like, you know what? Yeah, maybe we should be all like learning each other's skills in a way.
Right. Yeah, because she also wants to learn how to shoot the guns.
Yeah.
And Steven needs to learn to be better with guns too.
Yeah, freaking Steven, dude. He could fly a chopper, a plane like there's no tomorrow, but then when it comes to like survival, this guy's like the worst. I mean, he gets better, but still, it's like, dude, like you almost shot, like you're almost shooting, like I was surprised he didn't shoot himself in the foot or something.
Yeah. So what's crucial to what happens now is after Roger, is it Roger or Peter? No. Yeah, Roger.
Yeah,
When
Roger's
Roger
like
goes a
running
little
around. Yeah.
crazy, so Peter tells him, "Hey, you need to calm down and stuff." And it almost like it snaps him back. He doesn't slap him or anything, but it's almost like a slap to the face.
I feel
like,
like
hey,
he wanted to.
yeah. So they keep doing the mission of the trucks, and
Yeah.
the last one that they go to get, he's hot wiring it, but I don't know why he leaves the door open. You know, he's because he's being like careless.
Well, no, I mean, I think it's because he didn't fit. Because he's like, remember, he was like laying. Because if you've been in those type of trucks before, they're pretty small in the cabin. So I think because he was laying on his side,
Yeah.
and when he was hot wiring it, so that's why his feet like were kind of dangling. I mean, he was a short dude, but still, like I think it was like from ankles out. Which he could have stuck it out the window a little bit, I guess. Like that's true. He could.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that if you're there's zombies around, I'll be crumbled in there trying to do it.
Yeah.
But he's because he feels like I feel like he has a moment there where because he just feels like invincible. He's having this great high. He's not gonna high. So you see, we see Steven from the top seeing zombies come up, but you know, I was thinking, man, you know, like helicopters don't have horns or anything. He can't like warn them at any. So he just brings it down a bit, but he can't. He just keeps saying it to himself. He's like, "Come on, Peter, man, pay attention." So eventually, we do see that a zombie bites him first in the leg, and then he gets bit in the arm too.
I'm surprised he didn't have one of those. What is them? Like the microphone type, not microphone, but the
like a megaphone, or even the walkie-talkies though.
I'm surprised
because I know that between them two, Peter and Roger had one, but they should have given Steven one too. I think from up there down, it should have had range.
You would think, and I remember he's like yelling in the helicopter.
Yeah,
and it's like, but the helicopter's so loud and he's so far away. He's
exactly.
Like, you know, how's he gonna hear him?
No way. So yeah, he gets bit, and there's a thing in this movie. I don't know if because usually in zombie movies we're used to someone gets bit. As soon as they drop, like it takes like 30 seconds to a minute, and they start turning.
Yeah.
So in this movie, they do mention that it takes about 3 days to turn.
Yeah.
So once he gets bit, they go back into the house and not the house into the mall, and we see Fran like stitching him up, like putting them together, and yeah, man, we know that it's a matter of time. Before
it sucks, dude, because he was one of my favorite characters. I mean, I honestly, I have to say right off the bat right now, Peter and Roger were like my favorite characters.
Oh yeah,
like I love their dynamic, their friendship. I mean, they're just awesome, and it's and I want to touch on what you said about like the 3 days, the infection taking 3 days. It makes it more realistic, because I mean, what disease do we know that it takes seconds, but within 3 days, it's kind of like almost like a rabies type situation where it makes like Georgearomero made this movie very realistic.
Yeah, it's like if you contact the flu or COVID or whatever,
it takes days.
You might walking around with it for a couple of days and then finally that night or whatever it hits you and you're like, so it's it takes time. So it does make more sense. But I get it too that in the zombie movies you're trying to be fast paced nowadays and stuff, and you just as soon as you this is coming for me already, so it keeps the tension and stuff. But the way they went with it for this one works perfectly for this movie.
Yeah, no, it's true.
So yeah, we see him slowly. So there's a scene after they patch him up that they still do stuff with him, and they go into the mall. And there's a scene where they go into the bank because the mall has a bank too.
Yeah,
and they grab a bunch of money, and they're like, you never know. So they take a bunch of money, and later on they show him playing poker with the money because there's probably like a 10-minute scene where you just see, like we were talking about earlier, the day-to-day, stuff. Like they finally get this section of the mall where they basically live in it, and they build like their little apartment where they stay, and they know it's safe because they build the wall to block, and so you have scenes where you see them eating together. You see Fran, and it's funny because Steven asks Fran to marry him, and she's like, this isn't like for what, like this isn't the time for that. She actually denies him, even though
like, what are you doing?
We do find out she's pregnant.
Yeah.
So
we find out she's pregnant, and she tried to keep it away from everybody for a bit. But you see their day-to-days. You see Peter, like, it's interesting. You see Peter, this big tough dude, especially from the beginning of the movie, where he's just like he kills that guy like nothing. I mean, obviously the guy was being racist, so he's like, that he has to take him out because nobody's doing anything.
Yeah.
But you see his true character come out, and like he starts really blossoming, where you see him cooking, and you see him like know about wine and very cultured and listening to music and stuff. And it's kind of like like you have like this sort of gentle giant, and then you have the freaking Roger over here just doing cartwheels and like obviously sweet dude too, but like he's like
Yeah, because all four of them, there's never a scene where we see them like get into like a big argument.
Never.
You know,
yeah,
if
rarely.
anything, Fran and Steven fight a little bit because they're a couple. You know, there's a scene where Fran, they're having dinner. This is the scenes where they're all doing stuff, and the TV's on, and he's still like Steven's still waiting to. And Fran's like, there hasn't been anything for like weeks. Like, who cares? Like, so she turns off the TV, and then he gets back up and turns it back on, and they have like these little moments of tension. But for the most part, the four of them get along pretty well.
Yeah, they know they became. I mean, they're like a family together. I mean, it's true, and they were. I like the fact that they were all dividing their tasks. They were. I mean, it was obviously in this day and age, there's more like opinionated people and stuff like that. So I don't know how smoothly it would go, but for back then, it made it seem very seamless. They're like, all right, I'm good at this. All right, I'm good at that.
Yeah.
Cool, let's work together and let's survive. Instead of like, why do you get this? And like fighting over rations or something crazy. Like they're all like, we're running low on rations. No, like we're still all equal. Like it was.
Which I do feel like the movie kind of, I felt like it was missing some tension sometimes because the tension does give you like which is maybe why the remake said let's put a bunch of more people together so we can have that scenes where there's a guy, there's an asshole, there's the people like that do this with the girl that's pregnant, has problems with everybody, and there's more tension and it just makes for more drama, really.
Yeah, no, it's true. Yeah.
So, but you know, we're coming up on where it's coming for them. So after we see them even playing basketball, doing stuff, we do see finally. Well, there's that one scene when they're in the mall and I thought it was cool because you always, you know, when you go to the mall, you always see these cars parked inside. Yeah,
like the one that they're like for giveaways or. Yeah, they have those like giveaway cars. They have the ones where it's like they're trying to promote it to like sell it and stuff like that.
Yeah, so they do get into that car when they're picking up more supplies because they go to the gun shop to get more. They get more bullets and more guns, and we see them just driving that car around inside the mall. So which it's one of those things that's fun, right? You're like oh, I wish I could drive around in the mall.
I've always wanted to do that, man. I would see the car sitting. I'm like, what? It would be crazy just if it was just driving here and like. I mean, I've always wanted to be in a mall like when it's closed. Yeah. And to have it to yourself, I mean, dude, it's a dream scenario for me.
Well, there's those people that sometimes hide like at Targets or something in the bathrooms, and then like they film it. They're like, oh, they're spending the night there. Yeah, it's like you get in trouble for doing that. It's kind of dumb, but yeah, it's different with the mall, especially just seeing them drive and all this stuff. It's pretty fun. So yeah, the movie gives you a lot of that, and after that, kind of the fun is over because then we see. Basically, Roger is like he's already laid back in his own room, and he's starting to slowly like get like pale, and because that's another thing we should mention. The zombies in this movie, like, so they're trying to give him the look of when you're dead and cold and white. And Tom Savini actually said that he regretted doing the makeup white because on film a lot of them ended up looking blue.
Dude, they look like Smurfs. Like
because there's that one scene that we kind of left out where they leave Fran alone in the beginning. And there's this one guy in the mall. What do they call those guys that has the little, like, he's like not a Buddha guy, but you know those guys in the mall they used to see back in the day? He's like bald and he's got a little bit of hair in the back and he's got like a monk? Tangerine type of thing.
No, it was
he's like a monk looking guy.
Man, no, dude, I don't
remember that scene?
No.
So this guy is a zombie and he's like slowly finds Fran and he starts to kind of like almost get her. Yeah. And then the guys get there in time to kill him. The reason I mention that is because that guy looks kind of blue. Yeah. So yeah, I can see why
they all look blue.
A lot of them, yeah.
I was like, I kept watching the movie. That was the one thing that took me a second to adjust was the blue because that kind of in the beginning it started taking me out a little bit, but then afterwards it was just such a good story, such good acting that I completely forgot. I got used to it after like 10 minutes.
Yeah, because I think the bite scenes look really pretty cool still. You see like they'll show like a lot of. I remember as a kid seeing this movie for the first time and thinking, damn, this movie's gory. You know how things have gotten now and I didn't used to watch as much.
Now that Terrifier makes this movie look like a PG-13, PG-17.
Yeah,
movie.
But no, even before that, like Saw, or even before that, like Hellraiser, the first Hellraiser has like, I mean, the guy's like bones and like skin and muscle, and it looks that always like was kind of creepy and stuff. So there's been like even around the time a little bit after this movie came out, there was already a lot of like gory stuff. But yeah, I mean, there's scenes with like intestines coming out and the zombies eating intestines and stuff like that. So it has its gore factor. It has its fun little violent moments.
There wasn't CGI in this movie, right? I don't remember.
No,
There was nothing.
No. This is '78.
That's true. Yeah.
This CGI started like I think in like.
Which I loved, man. I love the fact that everything was
handmade. They shot in the real mall in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
I looked that up. They would have to shoot at night, of course. So then they would shoot always night shoots, and then the day the mall will open normal. I was thinking because I was seeing like the tire, like they would have to clean all that stuff up, because they're messing up the mall.
Imagine like every night. I mean, every day having to clean that afterwards, and then people come in. They have no idea they're walking around through where like a herd of zombies were just hanging out.
Yeah, the blood everywhere. Yeah. Have to clean all that up,
and then have to put it right back where it was. I mean, dude, that's some tedious freaking work every day. Like, how do you keep track of that, man? Like,
yeah, they have people that they would take pictures and they write down everything that would like where everything was, and they would put it back. But I'm pretty sure I don't want to speak out of turn because I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure like this. Like the part where they had like their own little apartment, that was probably a set. Yeah. It was just when they were walking around the mall and stuff like that. That was shot at the mall. So, but yeah. Anyways, we do get to the scene where Roger finally turns into a zombie, and who kills him? Who has to kill him? Unfortunately, so we see Fran and Steven outside, like kind of listening to the radio outside the room, and Roger's just like waiting for him because they put like he kind of died already, so they just put the sheets over his head, and little by little it starts to move, and he knows it's coming. And then we hear the shot, and we see Fran and Steven kind of like just down and out about it.
It sucks, man, but it was kind of cool that like it was very poetic how he took out like his friend. I mean, that's what I would want, man. Like if I turn into a zombie and like we're here hanging out, like don't let me be a zombie. Like just take me out, because like that.
Yeah, well, that's what he says. He says, oh, I'm gonna try not to come back. I'm gonna try, and we all know you don't have a choice. You can't try not to come back.
He's like, I love you, man. Like I don't want to eat you.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna do my best. And as soon as he dies, what does he do? Break his promise.
And his makeup is better than the rest.
He was
because he looks like all old and crumbled, and he doesn't look like
he has like the bags under his eyes. Like it's like really like his eyes are sinking in, and like you see kind of like he looks almost caveman like the brows start coming out a little bit more.
Yeah, he looks like he's aged. Yeah. Like he also looks like older and all. So the makeup effects were definitely better for him. Yeah. And after that, we have a little bit more scenes of them just moving on with their lives. They bury him in the mall. Yeah. There's like a little garden there and stuff. So they bury him. And after that, we have a couple of scenes of them hanging out, just doing everyday thing. And we do see Fran learn, like they're teaching her how to fly the helicopter, because that's they have to show that because it's essential to the ending. And after this, the movie kind of I have to say that we did watch the theatrical cut.
Yeah.
So it runs about 2 hours and 6 minutes, and the director's cut is 2.5. And like I said, I have seen it, but I haven't seen it in so long that I can't. Like I don't know what they added to it. Yeah. So I don't remember. So I'm sure the fans, if anybody could watch and leave a comment about what was missing.
Yeah.
But once it's available in the U.S. to buy the 4K with all the cuts, I want to get it and be able to watch it again.
I'm dying to hear the news for when they have that box set for the U.S. because that's the only thing holding me back from getting the 4K. It's like, yeah, I have the movie, but I'm still gonna miss out on the cool behind the scenes and special features.
Yeah.
And that's what you get a box set for, not just the art, but like
no, I mean I'm sure this movie looks beautiful in 4K because we were talking about how even the DVD has a great transfer.
Yeah,
it's like a DiviMax special edition, and I've never seen it on Blu-ray, but
DiviMax series,
the DVD actually, and I think it's rare, but it actually still holds up pretty good with the upscaling.
I was telling Lee this joke yesterday where I'm like, dude, like when you let me this movie, I was thinking maybe you had like a 1 or 2 extra whiskeys and you put the Blu-ray in there or something by mistake, because like I put that DVD in and it was just, man, like I honestly couldn't tell I haven't seen it on Blu-ray, but I have Blu-rays obviously, and I could not tell the difference. And same thing with Day of the Dead. Like I wouldn't mind just sticking to the DVD until the US version of the 4K comes out, because it's so good. Like the DiviMax, I'm actually gonna do a little bit more research, and if I see any other like selections that they have, I'll probably put them down in the description. I'll find this movie on Amazon and like put the links if you're interested in buying the DVD, especially this particular version. If I find it, it's like the the special edition DVD
Well,
series.
when that one came out, they did come out with a box set of it, DVD.
Oh,
with like 4 discs. I remember my friend bought that one, but at the
Oh.
time it was too expensive, and I went with the cheaper version.
Yeah.
So it does. You could actually look it up, and maybe it'll be the same transfer, but you'll get all the bonus features.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
that's a way to get maybe the bonus features, and then jump in on the 4K, so you'll still have the features.
It'll probably be like $15 too at this point, or like $20. Like.
Yeah, probably. I haven't looked it up, but I mean, it should be cheaper now. So basically, when they're teaching her how to fly, as she's landing the helicopter, we see these people looking through binoculars.
Yeah.
And it's like a group of people, like it's like a little army of guys. And this is where we see Tom Savini and guys are like, oh, these people, they got a nice little setup going on
Sex
here.
machine.
Yeah. So they go back inside, and these guys try to talk to them over the radio. They're like, hey, how many of you are there? What's going on in there? And they decide not to say anything. Yeah. And so of course they get mad, and they're like, oh yeah, you don't want to share? We're coming in there tonight. Yeah. And this is where the chaos part happens. Oh, it's really like the last like 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. Dude, I was surprised. Like we've most of us seen The Walking Dead, so we know Daryl on his motorcycle. And I'm thinking to myself, like, there's zombies. There's like a lot of zombies. You're just out here on a motorcycle where they could just kind of grab you and stuff.
Yeah.
But then these guys, I mean, I guess there's like a ton of, like a pack of freaking bikers.
Man, the thing that makes me laugh. So they all break into the mall.
Yeah.
And Steven and Peter. Is it Peter or Roger?
No, it was Roger. It was Roger. No, wait, Roger died. It was Peter.
It's Peter. Yeah. So Peter and Steven go out to check it out, and so they're just watching what's going on. And these guys are coming in. They're shooting zombies. They're like breaking windows, stealing the money stuff, stealing stuff. But what's funny to me is that they start hitting the zombies with pies. Even when I was a kid, I was like, why are they hitting zombies with pies? This is so stupid.
And it's funny because you have that one zombie that's kind of like, you hear that song.
Oh,
yeah. And you see that one like goofy zombie.
Yeah, they play like circus type music and stuff. But yeah, I always thought that was kind of corny. But I guess these are guys that are just having fun and just like, they don't care. They're just like, just hitting zombies with pies and stuff.
And it's to me, I was like, dude, you guys can use this place as shelter, and you just straight up like opened all the doors. Like you just kind of destroyed everything. It's like you kind of survived here for a while. But I guess they're like the little plague. They're just going from like town to town.
Yeah, they don't care. And they're like, they're even stealing money, which money's useless. They're doing all these stupid things. But Steven's pissed because he's like, this is our spot that we made and you're ruining it. Mm-hmm. So he starts shooting at them. And so then this guy's like, oh man, you need to stop that. They just want our stuff. Let it take it, and they leave. And so then that's where it becomes like a gunfight, and they start shooting at each other. And then here's where we see a lot of like Tom Savini, Sex Machine, like they're all like in motorcycles, and he's shooting them up, and so basically they just have a shootout, and they start shooting each other, and I think that's when Steven and Peter. I'm missing their names. Roger.
No, it is Peter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I know. It's
now like Peter, Roger, which one's dead?
Yeah, man.
So Peter, like they're basically fighting these guys off, and at one point, Steven gets into an elevator and he gets bit.
Yeah.
He gets bit, and we know that he's done.
Yeah, and it's like you see Peter contemplating, like he's in this hallway, because they had this like little like hidden hallway type exit that was kind of blocked off, that they blocked off on purpose in case they were prepared in case somebody ever came in or zombies got in. So you kind of see him in this situation where it's, do I go back for him or not? And then he hears a gunshot. So then he's just kind of like, he smacks the wall and he's like, damn it. And then he just goes to leave. But then like you're thinking, I was like, damn, he killed himself. And then he's still kind of in there. Like, he's still alive. He's still kind of, I mean, not for long, but he's still kind of.
Yeah, well, that's another thing that I thought was like, because we were talking about how it takes 3 days to turn, but he turns like within a couple hours, because he goes back up to Fran, and Peter tells Fran's like, oh, we're gonna wait for him for a little while, and actually she wants to leave, and Peter's like, no, let's give him a little time, to come back. And Steven, we see him become a zombie, and the thing is that in his brain he knows where they're at. So he's like leading zombies to them. He's coming with a bunch of people. They break that wall down that they built,
the hidden
and
door,
they're coming for him. Yeah. And this is where I think Peter decides to stay because Fran's like, no, I'm leaving. Let's go. Like, she goes up to the chopper and she's waiting to see if Peter's coming, and she's hearing all these gunshots and stuff, and she starts to like pick up the helicopter a little bit, and we see Peter with this little 2-shooter, like this little gun, and I was thinking he was gonna shoot himself, but he shoots a zombie first with one shot, and then he ends up not killing himself.
Yeah. I think that was his plan though, because
Yeah,
he was kind of, I mean, him and like Roger was. It's interesting. They had just met, like a few months or a few weeks prior to
yeah,
like them getting to the mall. But I guess they built such a connection that you see in different scenes him visiting his grave a lot and just standing there like having wine, like that glass of wine or something,
yeah,
and like they got pretty close. So I guess like after all that happened, he was like, because you could tell he was kind of like pretty heartbroken about losing his friend, and then it's like he has a choice to leave. But I think at one point he was like, "Where else are we gonna go?
yeah.
And
He's
what
like,
keeps surviving?" And then
yeah, because he's just him and Fran, and he's thinking probably like, well, the helicopter doesn't have that much gas left,
yeah,
and like, what are we gonna do? So he kind of decides. He tells her just leave, and I'm staying. Like,
yeah,
this is it for me. But yeah, I think something snaps in him where he shoots those 2 zombies, where he's like, I'm just gonna,
screw it,
he
yeah,
goes up, and she's like, oh, she sees him, and she starts to go down, and he jumps up, opens it,
yeah.
and
He's
they
a
get
big
him.
dude, man.
He's a big guy.
It was like a bowling alley, but he was like running through those freaking zombies, just throwing them around like nothing.
Yeah.
Like it's like he doesn't need ammunition. This guy just runs through the freaking horde of zombies.
Yeah, he's a good actor, man. He was in a lot of like black exploitation movies in the 70s.
Yeah,
Like movies with like Pam Grier and stuff like that. And I know like around the time that Rob Zombie started making movies, he put him in his movies a lot. He
nice.
put him in his movies a few times. I'm trying to remember if Quentin Tarantino put him in anything, but I can't remember now. But anyways, so yeah, they fly off together. He even says like, "Where do we go now?" And she's like, "Let's see where
How
this
far we
gets
get?
us." And as they're leaving, you see the mall, and like everything is just like everyone's walking inside the mall. All the zombies have the mall. They're basically
Yeah,
saying the zombies got the mall to themselves now,
yeah,
and the credits kind of roll for a while, just showing the zombies walking around, and that's
yeah.
basically the end.
Speaking of the end and speaking of zombies, uh, just want to go ahead and throw this little shout out to our friends at Mithril.
Yes,
Uh, like these guys made these amazing freaking tumblers that they sent to us.
thank you.
And
These are
thanks,
great.
guys. Yeah, Mithril Designs. I'm gonna put their link, their Etsy account, in the description. So yeah, like they sent me this particular like zombie one, and it came in perfect timing to the Dawn of the Dead
Yeah.
video. So I just wanted to go ahead and give them a shout out. If you guys are interested, they have a bunch of different designs. They're going to be doing T-shirts and I mean the works. So there's kind of the
Yeah, they're
little
great.
idea. Yeah, this and I'm not a Tumblr guy at all. We're talking about this before the videos. Like I do not care for Tumblrs, but this one I've been using every single day
Yeah,
since they
that
hooked
one's
us
these
up
are
with
really
this.
nice,
Yeah.
really nice. So
So
thank you to them, and yeah, appreciate it. They're really
yeah.
nice.
So no, with the conclusion of this movie, man.
Final thoughts.
Final thoughts, dude. Do you want to go first on this one or?
Up to you. I mean, you want me
Yeah.
to? Oh yeah, I think to me it's definitely a classic.
Yeah.
I will say that after all these years, I'm not saying that it doesn't hold up because I do think it does, and
Yeah.
I understand the fandom. I'm part of that fandom. I love it, but I kind of can see like it's aging a little bit. I
Yeah.
did find it sometimes a tad slow, but man, I love the characters. I thought the actors were
Yeah.
all really good. I thought it was well directed by George A. Romero. There is some acting here and there in it that's not the best, but the 4 main characters are all really good. So yeah, overall, I enjoy it. I'll definitely keep watching it. I can't wait to get the 4K and like enjoy the director's cut and see the differences.
Yeah.
And so for me, my rating for it is 4 out of 5. Man,
Dude.
it's a good
Letterbox 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5. Yeah,
You know, I'm right there with you, man. Like for me, I love this movie. I mean, it definitely times are different. Like, and
yeah,
I mean, with every, I noticed with a lot of horror movies too, they kind of based on their like the time, political climate, everything going on in the world, they always have a way of kind of putting that in there a little bit, like that subliminal message and stuff, and you see the thoughts behind it. And with this one, it was no exception.
yeah.
I mean, right off the bat in the beginning when they're in the projects, like you kind of see that, but then after that, it just like the camaraderie, the friendships. I loved it. I mean, the zombies are blue, but you know what? Like the hell with it. Like
That's where the Blue Man Group got
the
their style.
imagine. No, I mean, I wouldn't really change anything, man. I thought it was a masterpiece. Like I mean, if I had to watch it tomorrow, I would in a heartbeat. Like I enjoyed it. Definitely, the 4K is going to be freaking awesome. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're going to look even more crispier blue. Like,
Yeah.
but
That
definitely,
carpet in the beginning is gonna look nice and red, and
yeah, it's going to be all
it has
fluffy.
really nice cinematography too. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's a fun movie. I enjoy it. So you're giving it 4 out of 5 also, or
dude, at 4 out of 5, and it's honestly, yeah, it's one of my. I mean, what I haven't seen that many older zombie movies, but it's so far my favorite. I've watched Day of the Dead, but so far this is like, I mean, Day of the Dead was phenomenal too, but this one's just
yeah, this one's better.
this
This
one.
is like his essential. I know a lot of people would say
Yeah,
Night of the Living Dead, but for the most part, I think this is the
yeah.
favorite for most people.
And it was the characters development, man. That was that did
Yeah.
it for me.
It's the mall.
The
It's the
mall,
mall.
the mall, and them, like, just
Yeah,
they all played their parts perfectly. The friendship, that was the thing where I was like, man, like that's so cool how these guys are just out here having the time of their lives, and there's like freaking zombies, and they're
yeah,
just figuring it out together.
yeah,
So that was nice. Like the mall, seeing a mall with actual like useful stores, it
yeah.
was freaking
Yeah,
fantastic.
just seeing that the mall how they were in
Yeah,
those days, like 4 or 5 floors, and
yeah,
this one has like 3 maybe, but still, it's big, and it reminded me of some of the malls from the '90s too.
yeah.
And yeah, no, it's a fun. That's great about film too. You know, you get to capture these moments that stay forever. So
Dude,
so yeah,
it's a time capsule, man. It
yeah,
really is.
yeah,
It's like a
with
time
the
capsule.
haircuts in the '70s was
Yeah.
seemed like a great time. So yeah, I mean, I'm glad we did it. I look forward to in the future doing some more zombie movies and make some comparisons to this classic
Yeah.
because I've seen a ton. I went through my zombie phase when around that time when it blew up again after 28 days later, where my friend of mine and I we watched a ton of stuff, like even some of the movie called Zombie from Italy, like some Italian zombie
Yeah.
movies. So yeah, I mean, I've seen a good amount. So, but yeah, this one definitely is a standout
It
for
was
sure.
and I'm looking forward to seeing all the originals now, man. Now you got me like hooked. And I've been on a bit of a kick, like with, Lee's been introducing me to these older movies, and it's like just taking me back, man. I'm kind of gotten a little obsessed with it where I've been
Yeah, it's fun.
watching a lot of older stuff now instead of newer things because it's, man, I guess true what they say. Like sometimes like the remakes don't always do justice. For me, the remake of this one did do justice. It was its own piece. I would never compare it per
Yeah,
se to this one just because it took place in a different time,
yeah,
and even though there's an homage to it, to this original one, but it was definitely, this is this is a gem. Like this is
yeah,
one of those that belongs in Criterion, and when they talk
yeah,
about zombie movies in 20 or 30 years, it should be like talked about. Like it should be an example of like, hey, like this is
yeah,
character development. This is not always just here's the meat and potatoes. Like here's how you build up that story and camaraderie and how to survive, kind of little blueprint. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, so thank you for joining us.
yeah, guys.
Make sure to
Yeah,
subscribe to the channel. We have more
yeah,
stuff coming, and it's October, so we're enjoying all these horror movies. And I personally love to watch horror movies all year round. It's not just October. I'm a huge horror fan, but at the same time, we will be doing different
yeah,
stuff because we love all genres. So yeah, next month we'll do different stuff. But I hope you enjoy. We still got a couple more to come for to end out October.
yeah. We're definitely we got a few more, and definitely, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to subscribe, like the video, share it, let us know your thoughts in the comment. I mean, that helps so much the channel for us to grow, to get more out there for you guys, make more content. Any suggestions for any movies, as always, please put them in the comments. We're trying to respond to every comment we see. We're keeping an eye on everything. So just make sure that we're gonna get all the content that you guys want. And if you're looking for a Tumblr, Mithril Designs, they're,
Yeah,
you'll definitely see more of them in our channel because they're taking well care of us, and they're making some cool stuff, especially for this came right on time, dude, for Halloween. Like
yeah,
it's so awesome.
yeah. They're
So I'm
nice
excited
toys.
to see what they bring out for next month and so on. And yeah, dude,
Yeah.
anything you want to add before we close out?
No, thank you for joining us, and we look forward to doing this more and bringing some other reviews. And yeah, and keep a lookout because we're gonna release a couple more this month, and
Yeah.
and it should be fun. So yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. We'll see you on the next one.
Yeah, guys, see you on the next one.
When there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk here.